All right, let's get to the backing tracks now. If you didn't watch the previous videos on general setup, click track, and cues, the link is down in the description. We're going to add some new software instruments. Go up here to add tracks, software instrument, and let's just do 10 right now to start. Right, and then we're just going to start adding parts to our song. Do you want strings in the verse, a synth in the chorus, a piano in the bridge, whatever you want. So I'm going to go here to this track. I'm going to name it Low Strings. Push Y to open up the library if you want to use the built-in Logic sounds. If you want to use other ones, go to Instrument, AU Instruments, and then load in whatever stuff you've installed, so like Native Instruments. If you want to use a sample from Contact, use that. Right, but I'm going to use some of the built-in Logic ones just to keep it simple. Let's go to the orchestra, strings. Let's do full strings. So I'm going to add in just some strings right here. I'm just going to record that in. R is the shortcut to record. Exciting stuff. Double click to open up the editor. And then you can edit this to sound however you want. So I added this octave in here. I wasn't a fan of that, so I'm going to delete that. And also I want this string to cut off right there at the very end. And then, I can start moving this around or editing it to sound however I want. If you aren't familiar with quantizing, that will lock it to the grid. Highlight all of it. And then you choose right here, you choose what do you want to quantize it to. The nearest eighth note, the nearest 16th note, the nearest quarter note. Eighth note or quarter note usually work. But it just depends on, these are whole notes, so I could set this to whole note. Usually setting it to the nearest eighth note will work. So now everything just locked to the grid. Something else to keep in mind, strings do swell a little bit. They have a slow attack. So sometimes you're going to have to click it and kind of drag it over just a little bit so that the attack comes in right as you want it to. So that was a little too far, but anyway, you're going to have to tweak it around to make sure that it sounds the way you want it to. And then, go into here, do the synth, and we're going to add in a synthesizer, I don't know, string synth, Haunted Castle. I have no idea what this sounds like. And we're going to add that into the chorus or whatever. This will probably take you the longest. This is where you can start to get creative and add whatever tracks you want to accompany the songs. I'm going to do this off screen and then come back with the finished product. All right, so I added in a ton of different stuff into the song. I put some strings into the verse, some hits here in the chorus, some crazy sounds here in the bridge, a xylophone here in the soft bridge. Again, it's whatever you want. That's what's going on in the verse. Here's what's going on in the chorus. Because we all kind of play that staccato type line. In the bridge, I added all these crazy sounds. Kind of sounded like a vacuum going on or something like that. My singer hated it, so I turned it up because that's what you do as a guitar player. Another thing you can see is that here at the intro, or at the beginning of the song, I actually added a live intro. So we have
when he opened his door.
There's this creepy sound effect that I had, this patch that I had, and then I used a quote from the movie Inland Empire to start the song. So actually it plays this whole intro thing, and then
Evil was born.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And then the song starts after that. So we have all of this, and then we have a cue on when to start the song. Again, you can structure this however you want. You can add an intro, you can add an outro, and whatever you want to do to add to complement the song. So just my personal advice on backing tracks, everybody is going to be different. Some people rely super heavily on backing tracks. Some people are absolute purists and say no backing tracks, just whatever instruments are on stage, make the sound. It's whatever you feel like doing. I usually use it to complement something, just to kind of make the chorus sound a little bit bigger. It's whatever you want to do. Some people are okay with having the full instruments in their backing track. I don't do vocals on backing tracks. I had a bunch of guest musicians on my record, and I don't put those in. That's just my personal taste. So whatever you want to do, that's up to you. There's usually 4 different ways to use backing tracks or different ideas. So one is like an intro to keep the song going, like I did here. So as soon as the previous song is done, it just starts this interlude. We can tune up. We have about a minute or 45 seconds to tune up and get ready for this song. It keeps this song moving. Other parts to do are to accent what the other instruments are already doing. So right here, in the chorus, the guitars are kind of doing the staccato line. And the piano, everybody's kind of doing this dun, 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 dun. So I added strings that kind of do the same thing. All right, now that alone kind of can sound a little bit silly, but when you add that, in our setup, the backing tracks aren't blasting super loud. They're there to accompany us. So it kind of just fills in, just a little bit more and gives it a little bit more punch. Another way that you can use these backing tracks is kind of a counterpart that doesn't really, give another melody, but just kind of adds to the section of the song. So like here in the heavy bridge, I'm gonna play it without these backing tracks for a minute. So it's a pretty chaotic part of the song. So I added, kind of these swelling synth poltergeist type sounds to it. And it's not going to be that loud when we play live. This is me getting everything set up for backing tracks. So it's not going to sound that loud, but again, it's just going to add just a little bit to that chaos. Fourth option is you can use it kind of as another melody. So this soft bridge right here sounds like, I'm going to turn the backing tracks off, sounds like this. Just this nice delicate piano line, and I added in kind of this chromatic little walk down just to kind of make it sound a little Danny Elfman, Tim Burton-y, just because it fit with the song. Again, this is up to you on what you want to do with it. I'm just showing you examples of how I've used it. Another thing to keep in mind, you can go as crazy as you want with this. If, say, for example, you're telling your bass player that you're going to fire them after the show, but you aren't sure if they're still going to want to play the show, and you want to put in the bass parts into the backing track so you don't have to worry about it. I personally am against that, but this is up to you on how detailed you want to do this. Or, if your bass player calls out sick or whatever and you don't want to cancel the show, and you can put the bass parts in there. Again, it's whatever you want to accompany your song. It's really up to you. All right, the next video we'll talk about how to export these to either an iPad or a laptop. But first, one more bonus thing. What happens if you do something like a crowd participation moment? You're like, oh, left side sing this, right side sing this, or whatever. How do you have that happen in here? Now, that's kind of the downfall of backing tracks, is most of the time, this is how you have to play the song. You can't really extend the chorus or the verse or whatever. So in one of my bands, we did a crowd participation part right here, or it wasn't this song, but at the end of the chorus. And what we did is we just stopped everything. There's no more backing tracks. There's no more click. There's there's nothing going on. And we just finished the song out without click, without cues, without anything like that. So we could get the crowd to sing along. And then when they were ready, we would keep going with the song and just finish it out naturally. That's the easiest way to do it. And that is nice to be off the backing tracks just for a little bit, and just kind of have it happen more organically. But there is one other way to do it. So how you can, in Logic, you can set your loop right here. So say that that it's the big, or let's just say it's the soft chorus right here that we're going to loop until we're ready to move on. As the song's playing, when it gets here, it's going to loop. So the click will still be going in your ears. You're still going to be able to hear that. And then you set the shortcut is C. See how it turns it on and off? So when you're ready to go to the next part, you turn that loop off and then you can keep going. Now, if you're going to do that, you definitely have to rehearse the hell out of that. Either that, or you're going to have to say, okay, it's going to be 4 phrases that we're going to bring in the crowd participation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend this out. And it's going to be in here. This is all going to be build up, and so then I'll put in a cue into my ear saying, hey, go to the next, the crowd participation part is over. The song's about to keep going. The crowd isn't into it, then you're kind of shit out of luck. Again, you can customize this to however you want. I usually, if you're going to do a crowd participation moment, I would recommend just finishing it off organically. It makes it definitely more natural, and you can also feel out the crowd that way. All right, next we're going to be exporting to either an iPad or a laptop. Those are 2 separate videos, so be sure to go to the correct one of whatever you're going to be doing for your performances. I'll see you there.